Do not be surprised when Splatoon Raiders wins absolutely nothing at most of the Western Game Award shows for the different press, because they are letting you know right now that Splatoon Raiders cannot win, and it's just okay. It is what it is. It does not matter what the game does new. It does not matter what the fans say. It does not matter how addictive it is. It does not matter how much it improves upon anything else. They're letting you know with subtle little hints here and there is that no, your opinion is wrong and we are right. What we think is better, and you guys need to calm down because it's not that good of a game. So we're going to get into what's happening here and why. Once again, just get ready when Splatoon Raiders towards the end of the year, Game of the Year conversations, probably going to be left out from most major media. But before we continue, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 at 140,000 subscribers or on September 1st, whichever comes first. Subscribe, like, comment. The winner will be chosen at random, and it's a worldwide giveaway. Thanks, peeps. Okay, so we got a couple different posts here from some major sites that definitely vote on things for themselves when it comes to their own awards, but then also the Game Awards. I think that they are involved in some way, but I do think that the thought process from a lot of these major sites is similar, and that's why you're seeing the reviews that were all similar when it comes to what they reviewed the game at and the scores and everything. So let's start off with VGC, which is actually a site with Andy Robinson and the people over there. They do a great job. I actually am not hating on them with this. I'm just letting you guys know kind of like what's happening here, okay? It's not going to win. Splatoon Raiders is going to have an uphill battle. So VGC wrote an article today, talk about Splatoon Raiders, saying Splatoon Raiders is currently the 7th greatest game of all time on Metacritic, according to user score. While not necessarily a true indicator of quality, the results at least show a dedicated following. So if you go to the article and you read it, they talk about how Corey in the House was one of the highest rated games, which is more of a meme. But if you look at the rest of the highest rated games of all time, I'm going to put up a list for you. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is number 1, Silent Hill 2, The Witcher 3, Metal Gear Solid 3. I mean, it's just a bunch of great games. Resident Evil Requiem is in at number 6, Splatoon Raiders at number 7, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Metal Gear Solid, Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne. So pretty much all of those games, many people can agree are really good, are some of the best games of all time. When it comes to Metacritic score, obviously these games that Splatoon is with, outside of Corey in the House, obviously that's a meme type of thing, but everything else is like a 90 plus rated or very highly rated game. Splatoon Raiders is by far the lowest Metacritic rated game out of these 10, excluding Corey in the House. So they're essentially telling you, well, we think it's okay. It's like an 8 out of 10, but it doesn't deserve to be in the wheelhouse. It doesn't deserve to be above so many of the other great Nintendo games that have been out there when it comes to user score, and that's fair. That's their opinion when it comes down to it, but they're just letting you know right now. But the thing about this is that we've had a couple different games here within the last number of years get into the top user scores. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 being number 1. That game came out last year. Resident Evil Requiem, that game came out this year. And why I say it can't win and they're letting you know that it's not that great, because there were no articles written about user scores and not the true indicator of quality when it comes to that. There was nothing written. And if you look at most of the user scores, the best rated games of all time, they're all high quality games. They're all pretty good. Once again, outside of that meme when it comes to Corey in the House. So there was no articles written when it comes to not a true indicator of quality with Resident Evil Requiem. That was not said when it comes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. You wouldn't have said that with any of the other games on this list. Once again, outside of Corey in the House. So it's an article that's unique to a game like Splatoon, because here's the thing, and here's the reason why I say that it can't win, guys. Western media, no matter how good Splatoon the series is, unless they completely change it and make it into something that they feel is what it needs to be, which is, I don't know what that is, it doesn't matter how good the game is. It's going to get like an 8 out of 10. Splatoon is just destined, no matter what it does, no matter how good it is, it's going to be an 8 out of 10 style of game, and it's going to review right around there. Splatoon Raiders, at least compared to the other Splatoon games, is significantly different, and the fans that are rating this game right now are saying, wait a minute, this is significantly different. It is better. Now, I've seen accusations when it comes to the fans, and I get it. You can put whatever score you want, and I understand that. But I'm talking about actual gamers. People, peers, YouTubers, content creators, people that I know that are playing this game and saying, no, this is actually significantly better than a lot of the experiences that we've gotten before when it comes to Splatoon, especially when you're comparing maybe like an Octo expansion, or you're comparing a side order. But if you look at the Metacritic score, they're all right around the same. Splatoon Raiders, 81. Splatoon 3 expansion pass, that's the side order, 78. Splatoon 3, 83, Splatoon 2, 83, Octo Expansion, 82, Splatoon 1, 81. So it doesn't matter, really. It's just going to get right around the same score. But saying Splatoon Raiders is only 3 points better than side order, the fans are like, no, that's not it. So obviously, the professional reviewers, they're looking at it in a certain way. And once again, it's not a one-size-fits-all. This is over the course of a decade plus from the first Splatoon game. It's not the same people, so I'm not trying to say that it's a one-to-one and everybody should be rating it higher. There's different people reviewing it and all that. But what I am saying is that the core fans and people that have been playing Splatoon have seen a significant difference in this game, Splatoon Raiders, myself included, compared to the previous games, and I think that's the reason why it's getting significantly higher marks and praise from fans. The indicator of quality with Splatoon Raiders is incredibly high. I ran into 0 glitches, 0 frame rate issues, incredible intuitive multiplayer that's seamlessly baked into the experience, great difficulty, great options, tons of weapons, tons of replay value, all sorts of content, great boss battles, great levels, pick up and play. It's one of the best, I would probably say the best looter shooter type of game, and innovates in many ways where you want to put down other games, but this game you want to have one more raid, one more thing to do in the game. It really is that good in my opinion from what I've played, and I'll talk about that more in just a bit. But what I'm trying to say here is that there is a huge disconnect between the reviewers because they just see Splatoon as an 8 out of 10, and really there's nothing that you can do to kind of get out of that. And even sometimes when they try to do something different, I saw multiple reviewers say, oh, well, it doesn't have PvP. And it's like, wait a minute, it's a spin-off, it's a side game, it's not a remake or a re-release of a previous Splatoon game, it's its own thing that's separated. It's not supposed to have PvP. Why is it being knocked down because of that? So I think these are the type of things, and why I'm telling you that it cannot win. It's not going to, because there's always something, despite it pretty much being optimal when it comes to the game. I mean, there's a few things that you can talk about when it comes to the different things, like, for example, having a retry button after you get smoked in some of the spicy raids or something like that, or even having some more options when it comes to clothing, some things here and there, the color of your hair and stuff like that, maybe some more character customization stuff. But for the most part, the game itself, it's so technically sound and great. I think if you compare it to, like, let's say, the single-player experiences from the previous Splatoon games, it blows them out. And that includes Octo Expansion. I think Octo Expansion is great, but I think Splatoon Raiders is significantly better. So I think that's the problem that we're dealing with right now when it comes down to that, man. I've played the different Splatoon games, and there is a difference. It's not just the same 8 out of 10 or 1 point better or 1 point underneath when it comes to what we see with other Splatoon games. Now, that is contingent on PvP and how you feel about that, but I'm rating it when it comes to the game and what it does and what it sets out to do as a game. Not looking at anything else, just looking at this, comparing and contrasting and saying, okay, what does this game do? And I think it's much, much better. And that's why you have a lot of pushback on this article. People were talking about it quite a bit. There was a lot of comments saying that this is a poor journalistic approach when it comes to Splatoon Raiders and the data. And people are just saying, what are you guys talking about? It's a quality type of game. But you know what? It's one of those things where I see like, okay, it's rated above so many of the other big games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and some of these other titles. Is it really as good as those? Well, I do think Splatoon fans, at least, and I think just people in general, think that it's a really good game in comparison. Now, I'm a little bit more down on this next thing here because I think this is more, I would say, a picture of what I'm talking about. But over on Twitter, editor-in-chief of Kotaku, and yes, I know, Kotaku, American Truck Song 9, he put out this tweet. And that was on July 23rd, so that was pretty much like before he's probably even played a ton of the game or know what he's talking about, because the game came out that day, so he didn't really talk about anything in depth when it comes to the game. But he put out this tweet saying Miyamoto is out here saying, quote, "We don't begin by looking at existing games on the market and thinking if we can tweak this part or combine that element, it would be fun." Meanwhile, Nintendo just released Splatoon Reskinned as a loot shooter. And this is just absolutely failed journalism. And what I'm talking about when it comes to the reviews, I'm not saying him in particular, but the thought process, oh, it's just Splatoon, it's just this, it's just going to be whatever, right? Instead of actually doing the journalistic thing, because Nintendo put out a actual discussion on this. They talked about why they made Splatoon Raiders and how it came to be. So I actually put that in the comment section and I was like, well, wait a minute, hold up here, man. Splatoon Raiders is simply ideas expanded upon from Salmon Run and Splatoon 3 Side Order. I highly doubt that they looked at other looter shooters and decided to make one. That's silly. The dev interview for Splatoon Raiders is up and you can see how they decided to make the game. Aren't you supposed to be a journalist? So I think this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about, why Splatoon cannot win. Before the game even drops, or the day that the game drops, it's just saying it's a reskinned loot shooter, that they just copied other people, and I don't think that was the case at all, at least not based off of what's being said here. So here's the question. I want to point it out to you because there is a developer interview, and the question was, after Splatoon 3, I would have expected the next release to be Splatoon 4, but instead it turned out to be a spin-off. What led to that decision? And Mr. Ino from Nintendo said, "We've been going full speed ahead for over 11 years since the series launched, developing and updating 3 titles along the way. We thought it might be interesting to create something with a slightly different approach to gameplay, where you can really savor the action on your own. Splatoon isn't just about competitive play, it also includes cooperative modes like Salmon Run and single-player story mode. So one of our motivations for developing this game was our desire to create a new entry point into the series by releasing these non-competitive elements, not just as a secondary feature, but as a standalone spin-off. That said, we continue to develop competitive gameplay going forward. That's why we developed this game as a spin-off and not as Splatoon 4. So they're still doing Splatoon 4. They're still going to do competitive gameplay in the future, but they made this because they were just kind of looking and seeing maybe we can create something different. And once again, they already had Side Order. They already had other things that they've worked on, and they just kind of combined them and then developed those ideas. I do not think it had anything to do with a looter shooter or looking at Borderlands or looking at Destiny. It just was a natural evolution of what they already do. They already do like the different type of parts that you can get when it comes to Splatoon. It already has a ton of different weapons and parts and all that. So if you're going to create a single player experience, wouldn't you just make it to where you earn those? Where you go into missions and you earn those? That's the natural course of things. I have no idea what they're talking about here, but once again, this is the type of things of what I'm saying is that it's not going to be able to win no matter what. Now, here's the thing, guys. There's another game that Nintendo has, or more like just in general, the series, but I'm going to talk about Nintendo's version of it. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. That is the same kind of boat as Splatoon. No matter what the Warriors games do, especially the Zelda Warriors games do, there's nothing that it can do to get out of the shadow of its score. It's going to be a high 70s no matter what. That's just what it's going to get no matter how good it is. And the example of this is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, 78 on the Metacritic. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, 79, 1 point better. And we all know that Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity had severe frame rate problems, was not canon, which pissed people off when it comes to the story and everything. And it was just a kind of busted game at times because of that frame rate. And the multiplayer is almost completely busted. Like the frame rate went down to single digits at times. If it was raining, it was lagging when it comes down to that. And Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment makes it a canon game. It makes it to where they bump the frame rate up to 60 FPS, far more stable. Graphics look significantly better. No problems like you see, and it's only 1 point higher. It's the same thing when it comes to Splatoon. No matter what, no matter how much better, no matter what they fix, it's always just going to be around a high 70s or so. That's just what Hyrule Warriors is going to get. So I just found that an interesting comparison when it comes to it. Now, I'm 15 hours plus when it comes to my own impressions. I'm 15 hours plus in. I'm on the survivalist difficulty, and I'm aiming for 100% completion before I beat the game. I can go beat the game and do everything right away, but I want to get everything beforehand before I beat the game. So I just like to do that. I'm a completionist when it comes to certain games, especially if I like the game a lot. So this one, I like the game a lot, so I'm doing that. I'm going with the Slosher quite a bit. I love that weapon. I've maxed out a few different tanks too, so that's cool. The spicy raids under the enemy level, that's recommended. Super fun. I'm getting bopped sometimes, but it's super fun. I figure out new strats to win, so that's awesome. Easily the best Splatoon game when it comes to a single player experience, and it has a great PvE type of multiplayer where you can link up with your friends, or you can just hop into somebody else's game, or somebody can hop into your game. You can get help. I do think that it deserves a higher score. I am trending above that 81. That's the Metacritic. Not sure if I'm as high as a 9.3 when it comes to user score, but I'm definitely above an 8.1. Let's just say that. But I'm looking forward to actually playing through the whole game, playing the end game content, and giving you guys my full 100% review after I get that done. But I do think that Splatoon Raiders has the 3 things that makes a single player RPG awesome. It's fast, fun, and it has depth. You want all of that. You want the fun to be there. You want one more game type of feeling. You want the speed of being able to get right into the game, get into levels, get in and out, multiplayer, all of that. And then you want the depth. You have all the different weapons, you have the different tanks, you have the different upgrades, you have everything that you can do. You can even customize your hideout. Like, that's what you want in this type of game, and it has those 3 things that make a great game, especially in the action RPG shooter type of realm. Plus, it has a bunch of other stuff that I'll get more into when I do my full review. It's the perfect style of hybrid game for the Nintendo Switch 2. You can play it handheld. It's great. Play it docked. It looks good, runs good. Haven't had any issues. So far, impressions about 15 hours plus in. It is definitely one of the best games on the Switch 2. I would say a top 3 Switch 2 game. But I will give you guys my full review as I get through it. So, what do you think about everything that I talked about here? I know it was a lot. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.